Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian, know nothing, control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live or listening to replay. It's always a pleasure to connect with people. Quite a few people reach out via the chat when we're live, and then as well, people listening in the replay. The replay, especially, we get a lot of consultations and emails in general, just sharing appreciation and thanks, and as well, a ton of people reaching out for trustee training. So if you're still looking for it, feel free to reach out. Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that is email contact is Christian at trustchristian.com. But today's episode is going to be about episode 229, first board of trustees. This is a very important episode. So we've had people for years ask us about this question and what it really means to them and what it means overall. So we definitely want to share, what is it that we think about this board of trusteeship. Like we say, we are talking to the trustees at this point that have gone through the program. It's been years in the making, and we have more trustees through the program than we currently have in it. So it's always going to be more that have gone through than it is currently being trained. But we definitely want to say, thank you everybody that still listens in as trustees, because we know you are listening and implementing strategies. A lot of people don't know that they haven't gone through trustee training. They don't know and think like, wow, the trustees must get busy once they get themselves in order. Once they get their affairs in order, they move on with their lives. They don't stick around waiting for a guru to give them answers. But they do appreciate trustee training, what we provide in the community, whether it's with the workshops or as well with Trust Christian actually doing the YouTubes at this point and still connecting with trustees that way, to put out the message and talk about, trustee mindset and things of that nature. So we really do want to talk about trustee mindset today, specifically for we could have put the selection of the board of trustees, the first board of trustees, but nevertheless, it's not about the selection of the first board of trustees. What we're more talking about now is just the first board of trustees, possibly everyone knowing that they're equal power, talking about some of the pitfalls, talking about some of the importance of being able to select a good board or have a first good board of trustees. And everybody on that first board is equal. Everybody is a first trustee. There is no, second unless they're announced as a second trustee. So traditionally when things get started, it's always just the first board of trustees. So that's what we're going to talk about today is the first board of trustees, which are husband and wife, son and daughter of the parents, and that's about it. When we talk about trusteeship with the family, we're truly talking about husband and wife. We're talking about son and daughter working with the parents. It's not, oh, well, who else can sit on the board of trustees? A lot of people can sit on the board. It could be family members. But let's just go ahead straight into it. The infamous position that the uneducated people get. See, people that make under $250,000, they don't know that when a millionaire, like an athlete or celebrity, goes to the bank and says they want to have a trust set up, guess who's the trustee of that trust? The bank. So we're going to focus to stay on topic today. We had a doofus, someone that says they know trust, which they actually do know trust. They know it from the public side, though. And they had a huge company setting up people on the public side and charitable remainders, all these different private entities as well. I mean, well, they're not private, they're public, but they said they were setting these people up. But they said that a bank can't be a trust. Now, ladies and gentlemen, some of you all have seen bank and trust. So they are separate within the company. Bank and trust. There's a difference between a bank and a trust. A trust doesn't necessarily have to do lending. What does a bank make its money off? Lending, depositoryship, fees. Trusts don't have to do that. So bank and trust. Okay. So they said a bank can't be a trust. Well, first of all, if it's a contract, it possibly can. It's a contract. A bank is a contract. A trust is a contract. So the first board of trustees, usually for these athletes and celebrities, is the bank. Oh no, you wanted to wait until you got $1 million, until you became a millionaire, so these guys could be your trustee? Is that what happened? But everybody else, what are you guys doing that's not making $250,000? Are you waiting for the bank to be the trustee? How about you all go to the bank and say, how much does a trust cost? How about that? Because when you all come to the vault, there ain't no discounts. COVID or no, not COVID. There are no discounts to trusteeship, to first trusteeship. There is no discount to success. So let's get back to it. The bank is going to be the trustee for these millionaires, ladies and gentlemen. If not the bank, who is? Are they going to leave it up to their uneducated mother or father? Are they going to leave it up to their uneducated friends? They just graduated from college. They went first round draft pick, right? They went in the draft. What about the celebrities? Oh, well, a little bit different, but they're on the road. They're doing movies. They don't manage everything. See, the first board of trustees are some of the best managers. When you go through trustee training, that's why it's so special. It's because you're learning to be a first trustee. You're not learning to be a second trustee. You're not just learning to sit in the room and decide on what you're going to hear or not hear. You're in control. You're in complete control of yourself and possibly entities. The first board of trustees seeks out knowledge. There's a diversified board. It's not just you, solo dolo. It's you with other trustees that you have counsel with. Now, the counsel that you have is not always your own company that you keep or your current set of peers. You have to beseech out new information. You have to beseech out new senior mentorship. That's what the vault provides. Mentorship to junior trustees. But you got to pay to play because there is no discount. Think about it. Who got a discount in the celebrity position? Who got a discount in the athlete position? Well, we're going to go to the bank. We're going to ask the bank for a trust. They're going to sell us a trust. We don't even know that there's 80 different types of trusts. We really don't care. We just want to minimize some liabilities. And we heard that that's a great way to protect it. We listened to the vault. We knew that rich people have those things, trust. So we don't really know what type of trust that we're going to be encountering. And, they're going to tell us to make sure that we can always get it back. So that's the living trust. They're going to put us in a public trust because they're a public bank. You shouldn't even be getting documents signed at the bank. They have notaries at the bank. Why would you be getting documents signed at the bank? If the bank fires that person, what are you going to do? See, usually notaries are independent. Bank and trust. And then they got a notary. Not the everything at one bank. That's what Google's about to be for most of y'all. They're going to have all your financial information. Your digital fingerprint. Because that's your money. That's your money. But is it your money or is it the trust money? The first board of trustees know that they don't own anything. They're just the trustee. They're the fiduciary. They're the main fiduciary. Then you can get the second trustees. This is where we get into where people say to the vault, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I want my kids involved with the trust. I just want to make sure that, my grandchildren are taken care of. See, there's a mentality of trying to give something away and making money giving something away. We could have easily done an episode about speaking from the grave, but the first board of trustees is a different topic, but still alludes to you training your children to manage property and not own it, to manage assets. This is all about AUM. That's all it's ever been about. And that's why the Trustee Training Program is so critical, because it is a management program. See, everybody wants a trust. You contact the vault, what do we tell you? We don't sell it. It's trustee training. How many people still want to trust and don't want to learn trusteeship through the vault, through a continuing education program? But they want to trust. Be like the athletes then. Be like the actors then. Be like the entertainers. That's what they do. We sit in front of them all the time. They're quabbling and squabbling over $30,000. Oh, really? How much did the bank charge you? Don't worry. You're going to pay luxury tax this year. Don't worry. You're going to pay property tax this year. We have no problem with repeating any of that because that's true. They're not going to eliminate the liability. They're going to partially lower it. Own nothing, control everything. But oh no, see, the athletes, they're employees. Y'all didn't know that though, did y'all? The athletes know. They're employees. So they're getting hard with employee taxes in every state. Oh no. But these guys are making so much money though. Half of it's going to taxes. But they went to the bank though because they trust a different culture with a suit on. Supposed to trust your culture with a suit on actually. Every culture does that. Every culture trusts their culture with a suit on. It's called progeny, nepotism. They have your best interest at heart. They know how you come up. They're from your community. They're called the community. First Board of Trustees. That's where you get outside of the community now. That's when you do go into other communities and you get information and research. The first Board of Trustees has no one is the same in the first Board of Trustees. No two people are doing the same thing unless someone is training that's second. Otherwise, it's a diverse board of first trustees. Some people say, let's go over the trustees. Let's talk to the trustees. Does the lawyer sit on the board? Does an accountant sit on the board? Ladies and gentlemen, no. Really? Does the lawyer sit on your LLC? Does the accountant sit on your LLC? Or do they just do contract work with the entities? See, it's own nothing, control everything. It's contracts. The first Board of Trustees knows how to administer those contracts properly. No, the lawyer doesn't sit on the board. Can you have an ex-lawyer sit on the board? Of course. Can you have an ex-accountant sit on the board? Of course. It's very helpful to have experience so we can read out the fakers from the real ones. This is the issue that trustees run into, and they sometimes and they say, well, how is it that, you know, how do we know how to find a good lawyer or an accountant? Ladies and gentlemen, you're always practicing interviewing people. Oh man, I don't know if I want to interview people. We already know. You're not a good trustee. You're not a good first Board of Trustees. Why? Why wouldn't you be interviewing trustees, lawyers all the time? When you're a trustee, you're managing different areas of property, real estate, real property. Need a business litigation lawyer around, contract lawyer. Oh no, I gotta find all these people. How am I going to do that and still build the business? See, this is called a true asset manager. That's why they're the wealthiest in the world. Do you know who asset managers are? They run your banks. They're called asset managers. When you look next to their name, there's a 2B or a 2TRL, 2LR, a 1LR, a 1TLR, excuse me, or a 1BLN, or a 50MLN, AUM, assets under management. They manage assets. But what happened to the athlete and the celebrities? Oh no, we too busy working hard, so we gonna go ahead and make sure that the bank set us up right. The bank? Isn't the bank supposed to come back and help you minimize your liability? Do they do that? No. Did they do it for you all on the public side? No. Don't think they're gonna do it for the athletes. Don't think they're gonna do it for the celebrities. There ain't no difference. Are you serious? No, they don't. You got to come to them with this knowledge. When you go to the bank, you know how many trustees have come to us and said, yeah, the bank said that they can do those policies, but they don't do those policies on a normal basis. Exactly, because you have to come to them for those policies. You have to come correct with those policies. That's for everybody in our environment, whether it's the lawyer, whether it's the accountant, whether that's anybody that's sitting on the board. They have to come correct. That's the difference. Do you know what you need to know as a first Board of Trustees? There can be multiple of you all as the first board of trustees. It's not just one, it's multiple. That's why it's called the first board of trustees. Everybody has equal voting rights at that level. But how many people have literally called into a consultation? Some of you all won't believe this, but the people that actually said this, they're listening to the call right now. This is what they said. Do I have to tell my husband about this? Do I have to tell my wife about this? Do you have to? First of all, you're asking us, the vault, do you have to tell them about the trust that's being in place for the family? Really? Not only do they not ask that, they ask that, and then not only when we get to trusteeship, they literally say, I don't want my wife to be the first board of trustee. I don't want my husband to really know that I'm a trustee. See, the way it came off our lips is how easy it came off their lips when they were speaking truthfully from their heart, that they weren't truly inside of a equal partnership. They were trying to do what? Asset protection comes from asset separation. They already knew that the other board member, they might not be up to snuff. They might not be equal share partner as a voting right, not as an ownership right, as a voting right. Because what are you doing trusteeship for, ownership or control? When you're in first board of trusteeship, you're doing it together with someone else because it's first board of trustees, multiple. This is where you know true partnerships come in. This is partnership through a contract. It's a marriage. We tell people all the time, trusteeship, business, it's all a marriage. It's equal partnership, unless you're not equal. That's simple. Well, first board of trustees, they're all equal. They're all voting partners as trustees. Equal voting rights. Are you in that position? Are you making sure the people around you that sit on the first board of trustees that have equal voting rights are just as competent as you? Are they going through the training like you? Oh no, my wife's not going through the training. I'm going to just go through the training. Okay, I'm pretty sure that that's helpful. So when there's some trust that she supposedly left up to be a trustee over, was she finally going to call in to get the trustee training? Because you made sure she had that in the contract that if she actually ever became a trustee of the trust through junior going to senior trusteeship, she actually is required to continue her education as a trustee. She's required. And this is vice versa for man and woman. The woman, if the husband doesn't go through the trustee program, trustee training program, how does he get to the point where he's able to manage assets? What about if they have a job? How are they able to manage the assets? They have a job. They're not used to assets under management. They're used to liability. They don't even write the gas that they use to go to work every day off because they're not trustees of their life. They put their cap on, that invisible cap that you put on called a job, a false sense of security. They put that cap on and they said, this person, I'm a liability to them. So how are you a liability to the job? Because they write you off. Remember, a write-off is a liability. And trusteeship, what's a loss? A write-off. Oh, wow. So employees are write-offs to their employers. What is a trustee? What is a first board of trustee to the trust? They're a non-compensated trustee. That's what they are. A non-compensated trustee. They don't need to be paid anything. They would do this because they love it. Don't you love your family, ladies and gentlemen? Aren't you doing it for your family? Wouldn't you do it for free? How many trustees are going to invest in the upfront so they can live for free? They forgot about that. Oh, wow. Because it's not taught in public school. See, the first board of trustees, they're seeking trustee knowledge. They're not seeking public knowledge anymore. They don't want to be sold a bag of goods. They don't want to be sold anything. They just want the truth. The first board of trustees, all they need is the truth so they can act on the facts. The numbers don't lie. Assets under management doesn't lie. You thought it was a game? See, the numbers don't lie. How many assets under management are even in your proper position? Are you in the proper position? So many people say, "Oh man, I want to control my government name and I want to control my life. I'm under the auspices of the government." No, you're not. You're a beneficiary. That's why you get Social Security insurance. You're not a trustee. Oh man, I'm trying to take control of that. How can you take control when the beneficiary doesn't have any control? Oh, you didn't know that though, huh? Because the internet gurus, the ones that are on the internet lying to you and telling you you can take over the straw man, that's what they call it, a straw man. Ladies and gentlemen, we have mentors literally address that at the beginning of speech and say never bring it up. And anybody that brings it up in the conversation, they ignore the question. What about the straw man? What about the government entity name? Who cares? You're in the beneficiary position asking about it. But no, no, no. I seen some people, they get in a position of trusteeship and then they announce the judge is the trustee. Look, ladies and gentlemen, if you think that's about to be you on mass level, you're lying to yourself. Why not be in a position where you own nothing, control everything? They're trying to amalgamate the beneficiary as the owner. Well, in trustee training, you learn you're not the beneficiary. So even if you're coming from the government perspective of being a beneficiary, trying to reclaim trusteeship as a trustee and fiduciary, what position are you in? You're in two positions right now. Oh no, hold up. You didn't go through a trustee training program like the Vault provides, so you didn't know that holding two positions, specifically beneficiary and trusteeship, is pretty much an alter ego. The powers that be look at it as an alter ego. They look at it as a uh, uh, something that you're utilizing for your benefit. See how it sounds? You're utilizing the trust for your benefit when you're the beneficiary and the trustee. But oh no, no, Sir Kuman Rockinsaw or Sheikah's Bell Bay's Flutie Hootie, whatever. Somebody over the internet that got 8 names, they literally told you that, oh yeah, you're the beneficiary of the trust, and all you got to do is get back in position of trusteeship. But how? You were already beneficiary. You never had any control because no one from real trustee training ever explained that to you before. So let's get back to when you're just a trustee. Because the first board of trustees have equal voting rights. But you have to surround yourself as a trustee around people that are smarter than you. Always in a particular subject. Is it a lawyer? Is it an accountant? Yes. But they don't create conflicts of interest trying to practice a personal liability on a company. Why? Because employees are liabilities. So they're not trying to practice law on a trust that they're a trustee over. They're just a trustee. See, the trustee has a job. It's not to be the lawyer. You seek counsel as a trustee. That's what people get consultations for. That's what people go through trustee training for, is to get to get counsel. Trusteeship, a consulting, counsel. Some people take their families a lot more seriously. Bottom line, the first board of trustees, they might not even be always family members. They might be dealing with other business partners. Why? Because people in trust deal with people in trust. That's why it's a secret. The first board of trustees. You got to find people that are smarter than you at a particular subject. Continuing your education through trustee training programs such as ourselves, or us recommending you to another one, or you going out and finding them on your own. They're still high net worth individual environments. They're individuals that the celebrities and athletes call themselves. Oh, we're a millionaire. Yeah, you're a millionaire, but you're in the public living trust. Or you don't even know what type of trust you're in, but you got to trust. And y'all, and people that make less than $250,000 think they got it so much better. You guys could go in the same bank right now, ask for the same measly document. The only reason they're charging the athlete and the celebrity more money is because they have more money. That's it. They're not charging them. The document's still going to be the same. You think the bank's not putting out generic documents, ladies and gentlemen? The bank doesn't have time to edit it. Why? Because they already know you're not going to read it. You think the athlete's really going to really read all that? No. You think the celebrity's really going to read it all? No. Traditionally, they don't. That's why they gave up board of trusteeship to the bank. The bank's the trustee. They're investing the money that the worker is bringing in. The employees bringing in. The athletes bringing in. That's what they're doing. The bank's being a good trustee. They're not losing money, but they're not helping you make more money either. How are they helping you make more money? Since you're the earner, the worker, how are they helping you make more money? Well, they're putting it to work through mutual funds. So that means they're making the money. And they usually keep more of it than they bring back to the trust. Did you not know that? Who do you think is making the most money? The asset manager or the employee? The asset manager. Wow. So the athletes and celebrity gave away their 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 assets to an asset manager, which was their money and their time, their resource, their house, whatever. They gave it away to the bank to manage those assets, and the bank is still the biggest asset manager. Bottom line, because they understand trusteeship at the bank. There are trustees. If the bank is sitting as the board of trustee, they got trustees at the bank. Yes, they do. They have trustees there that are managing people's assets. And the average person doesn't even know what type of trust it is. Didn't read the document. Haven't even gone through a continuing education program. The trustees, they're always going to continuing education program. You think that trustees don't go to the American Bankers Association meetings? Why wouldn't we? We'll repeat it again. The American Bankers Association. If you're a bank trustee, of course you're going to the American Bankers Association meetings. What are we talking about here? The ABA, the American Bankers Association. Yes, trustees are going to invest in education. Why? Because it's the banking trust, remember? They're practicing private family banking. See how easy it is to build out one of these companies? It's called protecting your family, called protecting your community. That's what it's called. We just really wanted to really connect with you all and say trustee training is no games nowadays. We have learned knowledge over the years, have improved our processes throughout the years. Why? Because the trustee training is a management program. You have to learn how to manage your life better. You know how many adults and professionals come to us and say, I don't know how to time manage. I don't know how to goal set. That's why we're improving the trustee training program. Because you got to learn how to goal set. You have to learn how to time manage. It's not a game. You gave up the silly years. The silly years are over now. There's no more games years. There's no more, oh, we're going to have fun. You don't, what did the mentor say? We eat, sleep, live, and play and trust. That's what we do now. We don't have one foot in, one foot out. That's why those athletes and celebrities, that's why they've given up their rights and they've given up stuff to the bank. Because they want to play both sides of the fence. They want to still play. They don't want to live for their last name, even though it's on the back of the jersey, even though it's the last name in the credits. They don't want to give that up yet. They want you to know who they are. See, in trusteeship, you don't need to know who we are. Why? Because the trust doesn't die. The people do. The trust doesn't die. The first board of trustees, they know that. It's a sacrifice that you got to be willing to make this generation. You think Amshire Rothschild didn't make that sacrifice? And last time we checked, you know who the Rothschilds are. You think the first J.D. Rockefeller didn't give up that? You think they didn't give up? Didn't make the sacrifice? They did. You might not even know who Donald Trump's dad's name is, but he made sure he has some money so he can continue on with the real estate empire. This is how it's done. You have to make a sacrifice for your name now, for the name later. It's trusteeship. Own nothing, control everything. No, you don't own the position you're in. You're just a trustee. You're a temporary passerby, asset manager doing his job. Is it real in 2020 to be focused on trusteeship, knowing what's going on in the world right now? They got all these infectious diseases going on. People are dying off. There's an election coming up in countries. Is first board of trusteeship important? Guess what? All of that's a distraction to the first board of trustee. Why? Because contract makes the law. They're under a different law. They're not under the law of the state. They're under the law of the contract. They're not under the law of the state. You're under the law of the state. I'm trying to get from up under the law of the state. The first board of trustees knows what law they're under. They don't need to get from up under anything. They know what law they're under, what law they're administering, because they know contract. They know trusteeship. Do you know trusteeship? See, this isn't above the times. It is the times. Guess what? While you're not learning it, someone's teaching their child to know it so you can work for them, so your children can work for them in trusteeship. Oh, remember, the employee's the liability. If you're training your children to be an employee, clearly you can see that the trustees, the asset managers, the bank and trust are running the show. Is it relevant right now to be a trustee? It's more relevant than ever. It's own nothing, control everything. That's what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, what are you going to do? Are you guys enrolled in trustee training? Have you all gone through trustee training and say, hey, look, I'm still having a hard time finding a lawyer and account? You're not having a hard time. You're not trusting your gut. You're not doing the proper research to find out if these guys are true or these women are true or not. You didn't reach out to the vault and just get a consultation. Say, give me 10 questions. I'm going to write these 10 questions down, and I'm going to ask quite a few lawyers and accountants the answer to these questions, and I'll be able to pick and choose. That's what happens. It's literally that simple. You get a consultation, you get the 10 most common asked questions that you need to ask, and you move on. You get value for value. Oh, you thought it was going to be freemium. That's why trustees invest in their private education, because they understand that you have to invest in your private education as a trustee. You say you're private, but you didn't invest in trustee training. Oh man, I got all the game from you, Trust Christian, over the internet. You know, I listened to all your episodes and I'm good to go. Sure you are. You know, that's the tip of the iceberg. You know, the tip of the iceberg, you don't really see much of the iceberg. Actually, 80 to 90% of the iceberg is underwater. You all are getting the tip of the iceberg. Trusteeship is where we get in and it gets real nitty gritty. It gets what? Private. It's not personal, it's business. It's private. It's not personal. It's business. It's private. Oh man, I'm gonna tell everybody on the internet we in the trust and all this other stuff. That's what people type into the chat. I got the trust set up. I set my trust up. That's what they did over the public internet. They literally are announcing that. But you listening to the vault and you focus on what the vault espouses, which is privacy. Really. We hear you. This is the mindset of a good first board of trustees and not. The first board of trustees is always focused on privacy. They're always improving their education in privacy. They're okay with a mentor approaching them about their speech. How can you be, think about this, private trusteeship is not too far and different from public trusteeship. Why? The trustees that are sitting on all the college boards, that are sitting on all the charitable boards, that are even, does the president own the country? Think about it. You the CEO of the LLCC Corp. Is Donald Trump the CEO right now of the country, United States? He sits on that position for a 4-year period. Isn't that a temporary trusteeship position? He doesn't own it. He does what? He controls it. His responsibilities. What about you all? Do you own it or do you control it? See, Donald understands trusteeship because he's a trustee. What about you? Are you in a position of ownership or control? How many of you all are educating yourselves on being in a position of control? Oh no, we get the people that contact the vault. Hey man, I'm just trying to get something set up. That's not what we do. That's not what we do. It's trustee training. And if you can't read between the lines, we already know that the trusteeship that we provide, we don't even want you to know it because you can't read between the lines. You got to read between the lines sometimes. You got to educate yourself as a trustee. Not hand that responsibility over to the next man or woman at the bank, at your financial advisor. How do you hand over financial responsibility to these banks so easily? Because they're marketing to you, because they got nice colors like red, green, and blue and white. Oh wow. You didn't know that Ed Bernay came up with these color schemes? These new marketing tactic gurus came up with these marketing schemes? They're a scheme. Remember pyramid scheme? Scheme. It's a scheme. It's to get you enticed emotionally. See, trustees, they're emotionally detached from their P&L. They're emotionally detached from the trust P&L. They understand it's not their money. So you don't get emotional about money because it's not your money. You're supposed to be acquiring assets for the trust, growing the assets for the trust, protecting the assets of the trust. You're not emotionally attached. Are the people that you have on the first board of trustees with you emotionally attached to money? You have to ask yourself that question. Are you attached to money? Why? Because trusteeship is going to be hard for you. You're gonna wait 4 to 5 to 10 years, ladies and gentlemen. We know trustees that have been in this game for almost 20 years, and they literally have an emotional attachment to the money still, and that's why they haven't moved on. Because they're emotionally attached to the money. Because guess what? They're in the living trust. They're in the public trust. They're in the spendthrift trust. They're all on the public side. They gave away trusteeship rights. They're emotionally attached to their money. They're not thinking objectively. You got to think objectively. And risk is subjective. Oh man, I don't know if I'm investing in trustee training. Don't know if you're gonna invest in trustee training. Okay. Well, what are you gonna do in the meantime? What are you gonna do in the meantime? I'm gonna watch as much free game over the internet as I can. So guess what, ladies and gentlemen, we'll make you aware. The internet is free on the public side. On the private side, you have to invest in your private education. That means the continuing education. You continue to go through different educational courses. You can re-enroll in the vault. The vault never said we not. It's a continuing education. That doesn't mean lawyers and accountants and ABA members continue to get continuing education every single year from the same organizations. Why? Because the information is improving. Oh no, I didn't know you could go through trustee training again. Why not? You're a trustee in training all the time. Would you leave trusteeship? Trusteeship means you're always training. Just like lawyers are always practicing. Just like doctors are always practicing. Just like athletes are always practicing. Just like celebrities are always practicing their craft. As artists, you have to practice your craft. What are you doing as a trustee? You're practicing. You don't own it. You're not liable for it, but you do control it. You control your actions and what you do. The first board of trustees. Are you all practicing together? This episode was definitely to the families that the wives are usually not on the phone, that the husbands are usually not on the phone. And we say, how can you do a consultation? Even at the consultation level, we got a trustee that just contacted us and said, yeah, I got to make sure that my mom's on the line because I want to make sure she knows this. So we have to make sure that I got to schedule a consultation where my mom can get on. See, that's someone that understands trusteeship. It's a team sport. You think you're going to do it by yourself? Hey, ladies and gentlemen, trust Christian to tell you, definitely didn't start a trusteeship by myself. Definitely got in with other trustees. Uh, and, things don't always stay together. We'll always make you aware of that. That's a marriage, that's a life, that's in anything. But sometimes you got to start out as a team. And that's probably the best way to start out because you will learn immediately how important it is to vote or not vote people in or out, to have voting decisions. You literally can vote to say, we're not going to keep working together. That's what happens in trusteeship. So, trusteeship. How many people wanted to be a trustee? Everybody says they want to be a trustee because they listening to the vault. That's awesome. We hear all of you all listening to the vault saying you want to be a trustee. But wannabes aren't trustees. Hold on. You all want to get in trustee training. See, wannabes are not in trustee training. I want to be in trustee training. What happened to needing to be in trustee training? Because you're a trustee, right? You're a trustee on the public side, right? Or are you a trustee yet? Some people aren't trustees yet. So what do you think you need to do? You need to get in trustee training. That's what you do. It's not an option now. Why? Because we can see the alternative to if you don't do trustee training. Where you gonna go to the bank? And are they gonna train you? Did they train you already? Did they sell you a course? No, they didn't. They said just hand over your money to us, athletes and celebrities. We have a trustee at the bank. Go ahead back to playing basketball, playing football, playing hockey, playing baseball, playing whatever sport you're playing, soccer. Go back to being a celebrity. You don't really want to learn trusteeship because trusteeship requires a different mindset. You have to become a servant again. Stop serving yourself, and you just have to start serving the family again. The greater asset, the assets under management. Oh, wow. They say, that you don't want to love for money because if you do, you'll be a slave to it. Well, you do become a slave to it as a trustee. But you're really more of a slave to the contract because the contract doesn't just have to hold money, it can hold property. See, when you go through trustee training, it's a comprehensive, thorough learning trustee training program. It's not just a program for you to sit out here and say, oh, yeah, I'm a trustee and I'm coming to be in trustee training, but, I'm going to keep learning all the information over the internet for free. Can you tell me Can you tell me a good book to read, though? Can we tell you a good book to read? People that go through trustee training know we don't even recommend books. The only reason you're going to get a book recommended to you in trustee training is because you asked about a particular subject, and we're looking to make sure that you know it firsthand so you can go out and execute it with the team members and the members and the family and the business people that you engage with. That's it. It's not for you to read a book, to just read a book. It's for you to make sure that you're educated. The first board of trustees, they all bring something to the table. So you're not even reading books that the other trustees are reading. The best thing about the trustee training program is that you deal with other trustees that aren't in your same position. So we all bring something different to the table. Trust Christian is just a senior trustee that talks to you all as a senior trustee would. Unbiased, in a position of, are you doing your job as a trustee? See, your family's bringing something else to the table. See, Trust Christian's family, the Vault, the Vault family, we're bringing trustee continuing education to the forefront of the public platform of the internet. Why? Because you all are trustees. We could literally tell you're a trustee as a CEO of a company. Why? Because you don't own it. CEO doesn't mean owner. It just means chief executive officer. You're an executive. You're a fiduciary of the company. See, that's how we talk to people in the private, ladies and gentlemen. Public or private. You're a trustee. You're the manager of the company. You're not the owner. You're the manager. If you work for a company, you're a manager. How can you be the owner? You're not. But hey, when you're dealing with a broke accountant, when you're dealing with an accountant that doesn't have the skills to pay the bills, they're going to tell you, oh, you got to stay the owner of the company, even though your name's the manager. So they gave you the artificial doop-de-doop. When are you going to be in a position of control and not ownership? That's the only reason you got hit with the doop-de-doop. You thought the accountant, you were working for the accountant. The accountant tells you, ladies and gentlemen, we got trustees that the accountant will come to them and say, listen to this word. The accountant will say, you can't do that right now. Can't. If the accountant says they can't do it right now, you want to know what we say next? You don't even have to let them finish. After they get, well, we can't, you fire them. You fire them. Because what they're saying to a trustee is they won't. They're not going to continue to educate themselves as a lawyer and accountant. So while we continue working with them as a trustee, they don't even want to educate themselves to see how we really are not able to because it's illegal. If it's not illegal, why can't we do it? Because you're lazy. You don't want to study. You don't want to help us get into a better position. That's why we had to go to Trust Christian instead of go to you first, even though the accountant turns you into an S corp. People don't even know why they're in these entities. They don't know why they're in a C corp. They don't know why they're in an S corp. They just know they need an entity. So why don't they know? Because their accountant that set it up didn't tell them. Because their lawyer that set it up didn't tell them. When you go through trustee training, we explain all of that. Why? Because it's a proprietary process. It's the same thing on the public side. They're supposed to explain that to you, but they don't have time to. Why? Because you're so busy trying to make money instead of learning how to protect the assets. And the first asset you got to first learn how to protect is your mind. It's your brain. It's your education. What goes in is what's going to come out. If you don't know what to say to the lawyer or the accountant, of course they're going to hit you with the doop-de-doop. Why wouldn't they hit you with it? Because you didn't study. When we went through trustee training with our first mentors, we said, man, we got to go back to school for lawyer. They said, don't worry about that. We hired them. See, you hear the terminology that senior trustees say? We hired them. So that means we're going to have the knowledge to go out and hire the right people. That means, period. Lawyers, accountants, whether that's bankers, whoever, we're going to know who to hire. We're going to get them. We're going to know their job, even though we don't have to do their job. That's senior trusteeship. That's first board of trusteeship. First board of trustees, this is the first thing the mentors told us when you got in trusteeship, is you're looking for a successor. You're looking for somebody that you can groom. Why are you focused on people you can't groom? You know how many trustees come to us and say, well, is it a hard time trying to train up the next generation? Is it a hard time finding a successor? It's only a hard time because you're wasting your time with people that don't want to learn it. You need us to repeat that? It's only a hard time because you're wasting your time with people that don't want to learn it. You want to know how they want to learn it? They're not going to try to learn it through you, because we got trustees that say, oh yeah, somebody wants me to teach it to them directly, instead of I tell them I don't really know everything right now. They should get in trustee training. Right. Did they do it yet? No. Then you already know they're not the successor. They're called a thief waiting in the wing. They're waiting in the wing to get it from you because you just signed their name on a doc as a trustee, a successor trustee. And they're going to inherit all the riches and wealth of the entity as a trustee. And they're going to be a trustee over the assets now. And not know duty, not know anything. Or have limited knowledge. Or not have the same education that you had. When trustee training is superior. Trustee training. It's been around for years. At least coming from the vault. Because we're trustees. You think it's not happening for the Rothschilds? You think they don't go to these trustee meetings? Ladies and gentlemen, when you're in trusteeship, we share with you all to go to these meetings. You have to go to the senior trustee meetings. The high net worth individual platforms. Bottom line, you got to go. Oh yeah, I don't need to go. That thing costs thousands of dollars. Okay, and? Isn't the trust managing thousands of dollars? Yes. How do you think you're going to manage it if you don't have the education to manage it? You got to educate yourself. It's the same thing with trusteeship. If you truly want to be in a position of own nothing, control everything, you got to educate yourself. You got to get into education, and you can't play around with it. You know it's business, not personal. We appreciate you all for tuning in live, listen to replay. Feel free to type into the chat where you're listening from or any questions that you have. Uh, Definitely appreciate you all. We're definitely going to be improving our format over at the Vault. And actually some processes that we got going on right now. We're actually going to make it harder for trustees to get the information, but more valuable for them to have it. We'll say that again. We're going to make them harder to get the information, but make it more valuable when they have it. It's about investing in your private family education. Not thinking it's going to be for free forever, because it's not. College education not free unless you qualify. Well, how do you show yourself approved through trusteeship? It's not by bartering with the vault. It's investing in your private education. You have to pay for your family's education. You have to pay for knowledge nowadays. That's the age that we're in. You have to pay for knowledge. Not everything's going to be free through YouTube, Facebook, or the internet. And since you know that, you got to invest in light speed. Why? Because programs don't stay up forever. Ladies and gentlemen, remember when you all were children and there was a program on TV? Is that program still on TV? It's on a different channel now. It might be on a different network now. But not all TV programming come on the same channel forever. Why? Because they want to put out a new program. They wanted to put out Teletubbies, Barney. They got away from Sesame Street. Sesame Street changed a few times. They had Cartoon Network. They went from old school episodes where men were wearing pants. Now they're not wearing pants on cartoons anymore. They're naked animals. They got animals talking to people now. Oh, really? So the animals are giving you board of trustee mindset? Some people don't know about the TV shows that used to have educational programs within the show. The Magic School Bus, the Reading Rainbow. Programs that showed you about architecture. Now they're on the adult channels. But they still do those programs with children. Remember, they do. Just with animals now. Animals talk. Like in the Geico commercial. See, people are mixing the public with the private. The real from the fake. That's the difference. Are you focused on the public or the private? The real from the fake. It's trusteeship. The numbers don't lie. How many people are trustees now as opposed to before? Ladies and gentlemen, we encourage you all to do what's best for your family. And that's not to eavesdrop into private trustee conversations. It's literally just investing in your private education. How many of you all are having a private trustee conversation every single day? We already know the answer to that. The so-called ones that are typing into the chat that are saying, "Oh, I'm in trusteeship," and all this good stuff. There's no trustee that's ever typed into the chat and said they were in trusteeship. They may have said, "Oh, trust Christian is the truth." They might have said the vault is the truth. They might have said the vault is a pure organization looking to help families out, but they're not saying they're in trust. And the bottom line. So we appreciate you all for tuning in live, listening to replay. Christian at Trust Christian if you all want to reach out for consultation or trusteeship. But we just wanted to do this episode because this episode is a broad episode. We know we went a lot deeper than just even the surface level. A lot of the surface level is just you don't own anything. You control it as a trustee, and you're making it a point to just be a trustee, be a good trustee, and continue your education. Bottom line, that's all it comes down to. If you had to come out of pocket, you could charge that to the trust. Just say, hey, look, need you all to take care of this expense. But how many people know that? Trusteeship is real, ladies and gentlemen. Are you going to be a trustee or are you going to be a beneficiary? Appreciate you all for tuning live or listening to replay. Feel free to shout us out, The Vault, Christian at Trust Christian. Otherwise, you all enjoy the rest of your day. Look forward to hearing from you. Peace.